Welcome to the show, all my real sharks. Welcome to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with your host, Rob, and his two mates, Steve and Dave.
How you
Welcome
doing,
aboard,
everybody?
guys.
Going on.
All right, so it's going to be an interesting show today, and actually, it's going to be a heavy review show of some movies. But first, let's talk about some movie news out there, some tragic movie news. So, I don't know if you guys heard. I know David heard as he was coming in the studio right now. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, James Cann died. For those of you who don't, he died at 82, I should just say. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's the man from The Godfather. More importantly, for some of you younger audience members, he was actually the dad in Elf.
Yeah.
So that's where I would actually say probably is his most unfortunately noteworthy film. I mean, because he's done some other good movies, like he did Rollerball in 1975, which was a cool movie. He did
Yeah.
Thief in 1981. He did Alien Nation in 1988. Misery in 1990. The Way of the Gun in 2000. And of course, Elf in 2003. Big loss to the movie world, I would say. A guy who was a very diverse actor, played that kind of monotone, take no shit kind of guy. But he was very chameleon-esque in his roles, I would say. He could always blend that to any kind of atmosphere of any kind of movie. So, real sad loss. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I saw that too. It was a sad loss, man. He was one of the like new age actors around like the 70s, I would say. Is when he jumped off, right? He was like the
Right.
new age actor, so it sucks to see that he passed because he did a movie recently that was called The Good Neighbor.
Mhm.
It was in 2016. It was really good. He played like a creepier role of like an old man, but yeah, it sucks when I saw that, man. I was just like, man, that's another new age, quote unquote new age actor gone.
So unfortunately, the only movie news we have today is going to be some sad movie news. Do you guys have anything else though to bring to the program today? As
No,
we're
no.
all sitting
Uh,
around. You got some
uh,
movie news, Dave?
it's gaming shit. Just the fact that they're gonna do the new villain reveal for the new Gotham Knights game.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, really?
Who's
Oh
going to
yeah,
be the villains?
I don't know yet. We're waiting.
We're waiting. Okay, that's
Nice.
interesting.
Batman's not supposed to be in it at all, but you're able to play as all of the Robins, all of the Batgirls. Just
That's cool.
like basically, it's a sidekick heavy game,
So
Interesting.
and
I
there's
got
gonna
a
be a show off of that too on CW.
I got a little touchback for all of us on one of our episodes I want to bring out as I move into a review of the show Stranger Things. I don't know if you guys heard, but Matt and Ross Duffer explained their inspiration behind the last shot of Stranger Things was inspired by none other than Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Did you hear about that, Steve?
No, I didn't hear about it, but now that you say it, man, I got a lot to say about those Duffer brothers.
Did you think the okay, well let's go ahead and move into the review. So Stranger Things, this is gonna be what, the fourth season, Stranger Things, Steve?
Yeah, Stranger Things 4 Part 2.
So the continuation of the story with Al, Mike, Will, and the gang basically dealing with what is known as the Upside Down in the town of Hawken. Right now, Stranger Things is doing quite well. It's one of the top things on Netflix right now, which is interesting because I actually thought this season was better than the other seasons.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did. I thought now the introducing of Vecna, spoilers everybody.
Yeah.
The introducing of the new villain, which is Vecna, and some of the other new other side characters like Eddie and stuff were great. Eddie was a great character.
Keywords
although
were great.
right, but I also think Billy was a great character too. Keyword there was.
Yeah.
Two characters that heavily wasted, but everyone knows that from our other review on Stranger Things. But anyway, Vecna was a very interesting character because this was almost like, for me with them, as I said before in one of our other, when we were discussing it, this is straight up like Nightmare on Elm Street, and it still is to a degree. But it really was interesting because I thought Vecna was such an inserted person into the story finally. Like, it was like, what's the explanation between everything? It's like, it was Vecna. It's like, oh my god, when Billy's voice was all distorted saying, be quiet and be very still, it was Vecna. Whenever there was a strange mysterious poo in the toilet, it was Vecna in the show.
Yeah.
Not really, but that's
But
basic.
That's
That's basically
basically
what they're
what they
going
were
at.
doing. Anything that was happening, it turned out it was Vecna all along. You know what I mean? Oh, the
Right.
one thing that you thought would have been a big, huge plot device, that should have been derivative to the whole show. No, it was just Vecna.
It was just Vecna.
Just Vecna all along. Yeah.
It was just Vecna. So but I would say like Eddie was a good character, and we're at the part we're also just at
Was
this
he?
moment, and we're discussing part two. He was an interesting character. I liked his character
I
because
guess.
he was kind of although he was kind of a nerdier version of Steve. But the Hellfire Club I thought was awesome. I love D&D. I played D&D when I was a kid, and I understand the whole logic of how fun it is. And I liked a lot of the camera work when like Lucas is playing the game and with basketball, and one guy misses a shot, and he's like, "That's a miss," because they're playing D&D at the time with the multiple dice. But I want to we're already discussing a lot of things. All you audience members out there have already known, because I'm sure you guys have already seen it by now because you're listening to this show. It's a very heavy spoiler review show. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the main point of why I actually thought this season was really good, and then I'm going to get to some really fun stuff too that no one else is talking about right now on the internet, and
we do have news, and it's breaking news.
What's up, Dave?
And Kuzakaki Takahashi, creator of Yu-Gi-Oh, has died.
Whoa.
Oh, really?
That is some news. The creator of
Pretty
Yu-Gi-Oh
big.
has died. Okay.
Wow.
He was found dead off the coast due to a snorkeling incident.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Nago City, Okinawa. Yeah, confirmed dead. He was 60.
Wow, that is some
Died
interesting
yesterday.
news. Wow,
Suzuki
that's
Takahashi, yeah. Well, rest in peace to him for making something that's
That was my childhood right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
something
that's
that's
crazy.
rivaled Pokemon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Biggest rival to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and interesting card game, interesting fun
Yeah.
card game.
It was all right.
Oh God, wow. Okay, that kind of threw me off, but that is definitely sad. So back to Stranger Things, though. Sorry to say, my audience.
Yeah.
As I said, you've probably all seen this before. And what I thought was really good about this season, finally, and I know a lot of you out there are going to be like, "Oh," because it's a controversial take here. I'm happy one of the main characters finally bit it in a way. In a way.
All right, because I'll
in a way.
exaggerate, put an asterisk behind that, Rob.
In a way. I was happy to finally see some vulnerability to the characters, because so far we only saw Billy die. We only saw, unfortunately we saw Eddie die too.
Eddie is pretty much.
And I think it's a waste of characters, first of all. But more importantly, though, again, I always knew those characters were going to go because
it's
of
the Stranger Things way, Rob. They always do
Steve,
it.
they didn't do it this time. They actually had someone bite it, which was unfortunately Max. And
I don't know. Is she gone?
It's
I
don't know. It's like I said, it's one of those up in the air things, which I hate. Everyone knows I hate that. It's like, if you're gonna kill a character off, just kill them off.
And I don't feel like if they leave it ambiguous, I don't think Stranger Things has the stones, dude. That's kind of my biggest gripe with the show. They always bring somebody in. Just for record, I went back and rewatched season 1 because I don't remember anything about anything with Stranger Things.
There is no anything. Everything is just inserted.
It's just inserted, right? So Stranger Things 1 is almost entirely different than this last season. It's like completely.
It's different than Stranger Things 3 as well.
Yeah. They're all kind of their own stories, which is weird, but they're supposed to be congruent of each other. Like you said, man, like Eddie is like the guy from season 2. What was the actor's name? He's escaping me, but he plays Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings. He died.
Oh, yeah.
And then Eddie comes in, new character, people like him, right? And just when you are accepting him in the world of Stranger Things, he eats it, right?
He's a very likable character.
He's a likable character.
While the main core survive. And that's why I liked the new season, Steve. I thought it brought some
God.
So I'm sorry, it's a controversial thing. We all know there's going to be a season 5 because we saw eventually, and for those of you who don't know what's actually going on, Vecna, as we said, has been behind the whole thing all along, and what he's talking about in the end is that he discovered the Upside Down. The Upside Down wasn't really the Upside Down. It's not a parallel world as much as it's just another world that he just made parallel.
He made it.
It's almost like, it really reminds me a lot, Steve. I'm sure it reminds me of The Mist. And that's what I always said about Stranger Things. It reminds me of The Mist too, an experiment that has actually gone wrong, and it's making aliens and shit come out, from another dimension.
That's true, but it's not one guy making the Mist, you know what I mean? Like, I'm behind all of the Mists. That's it's whack, dude. That was whack writing. It was stupid to make Vecna, and because the whole thing, I for my audience, if you guys do not know, me and Rob kind of talked about this extensively off air. I don't like the fact, again, spoilers, that Vecna is in charge or created the Mind Flare, which that takes away the mythicism of the Upside Down, right? It was supposed to be like, what is this big, huge threat that the kids and everybody in Hawkins can't destroy? You know what I mean? It's like this unstoppable force that all they can do is closed off the Upside Down forever. You know what I mean? So they can't leak in. But if you're able to just be like, oh, it's Vecna, and you pin it on somebody, I mean, you kind of saw what was going on in the finale. They all were like throwing fire at him, and I'm just like, why would that be hurting him in his own world? Right? It's just so stupid. And then they do.
He already looks like Freddy Krueger. He's already
it's so weird that, and I mean, obviously it's ambiguous because he's not dead in the end. But I don't know what's your take on it, Rob? Did you like, especially the last episode? Did you like that one?
Well, no, I didn't like that there was certain aspects of the story that was wasted, and we're going to move on here to my audience real soon, for those of you who aren't interested in the Stranger Things review. There were aspects of it that I really didn't like. For example, the Russia story, completely useless, didn't need to happen. The character, the jock guys that were chasing the kids, not necessary, didn't need to happen. Some characters took on some real annoying aspects of their old traits, and some of them didn't even evolve. The only person I thought that is actually relevant to the whole show, and then even they kind of made his character kind of, I don't want to say woke, but is Will, because Will's the only character that's everyone should feel bad for, because he's the only guy that pretty much didn't have a childhood in this whole show, because there were no adventures in the Upside Down for him. There was just running in terror from the Demogorgon, and then being basically molested by the Mind Flayer for an entire season. And then now he's a closeted gay, and basically, which I'm not trying. This may be controversial for some of you, but I've already been advised by some others to watch how I say it here. But I don't know if you guys seen this. I don't know. I'm just saying. This is kind of relevant. I don't know the story, but Vecna was looking at the flaws of everybody and everything like that, and it's just he's the one that sent everything, all that. So he didn't want to go after Will directly. But what was Will's flaw? The whole time. And if you're sitting there saying, I don't know what Will's flaw was, well, I hope the Duff brothers weren't saying it's because he's a homosexual, because it really kind of comes off as that, because in this new season he's really into Mike, and it just kind of seems like
out of nowhere. By the way, it's
he
what
even uses the term you think you're a mistake. It looks on camera, and I'm like, wow, they're really kind of going that direction for it. So was Vecna oh, send the Demogorgons after him?
He's a homosexual. Send the Demogorgons.
Right.
Because it's why do that? Now, I will say, like I said, Rob, I watched the first season. When they were getting bullied by those two bullies in the first season, they were bringing up, oh, he's a queer, and, know, you're fairy. So they were planting seeds to Will.
I did not know. But, that's a good note. I did not know.
Yeah, they were doing it. But the thing with, you just said, how they just dropped it upon Mike, he has this thing for Mike, even though in the end he says a line, something along the lines of you're the leader, you're the heart,
you're the heart.
What I mean? You get through to, it's you just confessed that that you like this guy, and now you're telling him to just go on and have him like Elle, and he basically goes, I love you. So there was conflicting things going on. I think that's just a problem. They wrote themselves into a hole which scares me because my whole sentiment is Stranger Things should have been one season, but here we are, season 4 with a season 5. I mean, it is what it
All
is.
right,
It's just,
it is what it is.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
what it is, man.
So I would actually give this new season actually the highest one of all. I'll give it 7.5. I know you're gonna hate it, Steve, but I give it a
Yeah, but
7.5 on the new
it's 6
season.
for me.
But I want to actually move on to another segment called "Did That Inspire That?" And I actually have two stories I would like to bring down. Now, the Doth Brothers have said that most of their inspiration for this Stranger Things has been based off a lot of Stephen King's novels, but they have also talked about this. Have you guys heard of this? It's called the Montauk Project. It's a conspiracy theory that alleges there were a series of United States government projects conducted at Camp Hero and Montauk Air Force Station. And basically, the purpose was to develop psychological warfare techniques and exotic research, including time travel. Now, this is this is a book. This is a series by Preston Nichols, which the two guys who wrote this, it's interesting because when you look up the Montauk Project experiments in time, it's written by Preston B. Nichols and Peter Moon. Now, interestingly enough, my audience, I actually looked up these two, and it actually says these books are fiction. However, it is the two guys that wrote it say that they have repressed memories of being in these experiments.
Hmm.
So apparently, this is a true story that they remembered, lost memory wise, of these experiments that happened to them. Have you guys ever heard about this?
Hmm. I think I've maybe vaguely heard something along those lines, but I don't know, dude. That's getting a little like it's sort of in
They
my
even
my
say
head
in the
like
book when you read it, you can read this as a work of fiction or nonfiction.
or
But
non-fiction. See, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the tell of going like this could be real. Who knows?
this is a
I
true
could.
story we just made up.
Yeah, and so like that's the thing where I'm going back to my good old friend Bigfoot. I can make up a book and be like, I actually saw him and nobody saw him but me. And this could be fiction or not non-fiction. Choose to believe me or not, Rob, but I saw him and I'm gonna stick to that to the day I
Well, well,
die.
here's another a path Bigfoot can't step because this one is absolutely true. I want to know if you guys have ever heard of Centralia, Pennsylvania. You guys ever heard of this?
Oh.
So Centralia, Pennsylvania was a mining town, and basically what ended up happening, and this is why I bring this up, because if you look at the reports of this looks exactly what's happening in Stranger Things. So basically, this was a coal town, and it had a huge, vast underground network of coal mines. And basically, in there was a point in the town's history where they had to light the dump on fire because the dump wasn't meeting standards. They accidentally lit the coal mine on fire, and it is still burning since 1962, Steve. They've had to evacuate
What?
the whole town. There are cracks in the ground where you can see like the molten fire, blue fire, the intense heat burning, killing the vegetation, killing everything around the radius of this town. It's a ghost town with a population, I believe, of only 5 now. And because they had to basically
A
leave, they had to.
population of only 5?
Yes, the people that are still there. That's it. And basically, there was poisonous gas seeping in. Vegetation was dying. You can still see the fire seeping out to this day out of some of the ditches and sewers in the location of the town.
Hmm.
So when I seen this story, I stumbled across the story watching a mystery show, and I was like, "Oh wow! I wonder if this is what Stranger Things is about," because it really seems like that. Because
Seems interesting.
one of the news stories that happened was about a kid who almost fell into a hole, and the hole was basically like almost a pit to hell. He almost died. He grabbed hold of a tree
Oh my goodness.
before he fell into the fire.
Hey, that's pretty indicative of what we indicative of what we saw, right? You know what I mean? So
I'm
maybe,
saying.
maybe.
All right, so let's go ahead and move into some reviews here. So I got the first movie I want to talk about is actually an interesting, and my audience, I'm gonna announce a special. This is gonna be one of our up and coming specials here. We are going to literally try to watch over 50 shark movies for you all, and we're gonna talk about all of them
Ooh, and I mean the bad ones and the good ones too.
and the good ones. We're gonna go through every shark movie we can possibly find, and this one is no exception. So yes, Steve, I actually did not talk to you about this one. I want to know if you guys have heard of this one, The Reckon.
The Reckon?
2022. Yes, this is actually on Tubi. You're welcome, everybody. So it's absolutely free. This is a movie with a rating of 2.6.
And it came
Now,
out last year.
yeah, let me tell you though. Let me tell you, it's actually, yeah, it's actually out now. It's out. It was directed by Lee Van Kite, written by Lee Van Kite, stars Alicia Silverstone. That's right, Alicia Silverstone,
Wow.
James Tupper, and DeAndre O'Connell. And this is an interesting film, and the reason, and I'm actually proud of you, my audience, because I think some of you are getting a little witty here on some of these films, because this movie is basically Adrift meets Open Water, Steve. So it's about a vacationing couple that they're basically out there in like the Philippines, and they're in basically one of those bungalows, like a villa bungalow that hangs out over the ocean, and a tropical storm sweeps their entire villa out to the ocean. And what do you think is going to happen, Steve?
Of course.
We have the fight for survival, first with water, then food. Then all of a sudden, our good friends come, which are the sharks. And of course, the sharks are the main protagonists in this one. And I have to say, very, 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 very good special effects in this movie. I thought the special effects were actually quite good in this film. It gets, like I said, it gets a 2.6, and rightfully so. I will not defend the rating on this one, everybody,
Because of the
because
effects, though, or because of
no,
the movie?
because I think our audiences are a little smarter than we give them, a lot of other people give them credit for, Steve. Because let me tell you something. This movie, as I said, is Open Water. I go back to Open Water and I looked up Open Water, and it gets a 5.8 on IMDb. And as everyone knows, Open Water is about it's a true story about a couple that was basically left behind on a scuba diving excursion, and basically are stranded in shark-infested waters and die after so long. Hey, that's the film. Don't wreck me for it there. But that one got a 5.8, and director Chris Kittens, writer again Chris Kittens. So these people really, who writes them. Uh, so I thought it was good. But then I look at Adrift 2018, Steve, and as I
Yeah.
said in our review of Adrift was a little bit different than a lot of those other kind of you know, survival, adrift, open water kind of movies. And this one actually has a 6.6 out of 10, Steve. So I think people are a little bit more wary on these films nowadays. However, if you have never seen any of the films I just mentioned, you're gonna fucking love this movie.
Oh goodness!
Because
Wow.
this movie leaves nothing behind. I mean, if you like The Reef, for example, which is one of my favorite kind of open water stranded movies, where they literally get picked off by some sharks, and it is some good special effects too.
That one, yeah, that one. Well, that was with love and care, though.
Yeah. This movie, though, I have to say, Steve, it impressed me. It impressed me to a very good degree. I was actually very, very surprised in it. I'm actually going to give it a 3. I'm actually going to give it a 4 because I don't think it's
Okay,
that bad.
but it
However,
was good enough for a watch, though.
yeah, it was, and the special effects were pretty good. Even though like some of the sharks, they kind of switch out of like. There's a good now combination they're getting with a special effects where they can use a lot of stock footage switched out with CGI, and it just looks really really good nowadays because they just can. It looks like a shark is really there ripping these people apart, and this movie was no exception.
Hmm.
So I actually really did. It was an interesting watch. So
So is
definitely.
this like was the shark supposed to be like a megalodon shark, like
I
overly
see. I know
sized?
you're probably looking at the cover right now, but that has nothing to do with
It has
anything.
nothing to do.
It,
That's just
it's
building
it's
up
not
a.
even a great white. They're like bull sharks
Oh my gosh!
and
Okay.
mako sharks. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I will have to say, and like Rob has said, 50 shark movies, it's gonna happen. I want to know, do they all have to be great white sharks? You know what I mean? For the most part, can we
No,
get
most
some
of them are
tigers?
megalodons. Like
Yeah.
I've said before, the Meg was nothing but a high budgeted B movie. That's what the Meg was.
Wow. I mean, you're right.
It
You're
was.
right. And I
It was
mean,
the last hurrah for a lot of actors too, including Jason Statham, even though he still works. That was like his last hurrah of being the main guy in a film.
it's
Same thing with
interesting
Rainn
though.
Wilson, with the guy who
Maybe
played Hero from Heroes.
Heroes, the guy from The Office, the white who plays
Yeah,
the white
Rainn
character.
Wilson.
But I don't know if you heard though, Rob. They're supposed to be planning a Megalodon 2 movie.
I'm sure.
Megalodon 2: The Trench in 2023. So Jason
Oh
Statham
boy,
probably hanging on to the shark, just like what's his face
living
did in
inside it. He's living
yeah.
inside it like Geppetto. Like
He's like
Geppetto.
Geppetto. Yeah.
Fishing. Oh, tuna!
Yeah, definitely.
That's what hey, that's where Steve would go with that. So there you have it, my audience. But Dave, what do you think of shark films? Do you think they're all the same, or do you think some of them can be fun and free and still have a good review?
I don't know. It kind of depends because they're all biting off of the original Shark movie. Nothing else is giving
Okay.
personal thought. Nothing seems like they're giving too much thought into it other than all right, we're gonna go off sharks or we're gonna go off Jaws and then we're just gonna go fucking nuts.
That is a great point.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Just look what they did with the whole Sharknado. You know what I mean? They just like kind of made a riff
Yes.
off those movies.
Like,
So
and
last
when you
one,
thought,
the very last one is called Sharknado, the end, finally.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Like y'all didn't even care.
Just
I know.
totally being like, well, that's shark movies.
I love it when they've even gone farther now, because you always go, well, where could we take sharks? Okay, we can take them into lakes because we have Lake Shark, which is a movie. And then we also have, where else could we take it? Well, could we take sharks on land? Yes, we could, because there is also a film called Land Shark.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
So they do exist, and we're going to go through all of them. We're going to go through the best ones,
Bro,
my
they're just gonna
audience.
pull a fucking thing out of DC and just let them walk like King Shark. I'll be like, fuck it, now Sharks are like zombies. It's over. People are done.
There are zombie sharks.
Are zombie sharks.
It's a
Have you guys, have
Sharknado.
you guys
There
heard of
are
this
zombie
fungus?
sharks.
Have you guys heard of this fungus that grows on the inside
Yes.
and outside of the water that makes them zombies?
No, I have not. But I know
No.
the fungus you're talking about. Is that the one that they have from The Last of Us, Steve? Is the inspiration for The Last of Us?
Oh,
No,
the
a real fucking,
fungi thing that makes them kind of like half zombies, but not really.
yeah, that's a real fucking thing though.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I had no clue. I seen this shit on fucking Facebook. I was like, yo. Me and my
Yeah.
nephew were talking about zombies, and I was like, he was like, what if they're dead? I'm like, you don't understand. Zombies is a term for voodoo. That's a term of
Yeah.
voodoo. So the Americanized people have taken that word and just made it pop culture. I was like,
Very
zombie.
true.
I was like, basically, a zombie is someone who has no thought process of what they're doing.
They're
And
slaves,
is
basically.
doing.
Yeah.
He was like, do you think they're gonna eat our brains? I was like, they don't need to eat our brains. They just want to fucking hurt us because they don't know goddamn brain.
Speaking of brains, and I'm not trying to go, but do you know where that concept even comes from? Because I recently saw the film that introduced that concept. Does anyone know, my audience, where the whole brains, eating brains for zombies?
Just the very first movie when I went back and watched it.
Which one? Do you know?
Not the name of it, no, because I was
It's
just
the Return of
It's
the
the
Night of the
return.
Living Dead. Yes,
Yeah.
the one that's
It's
supposed
not
to be
the
a
first one.
parody of Night
Yeah.
of the Living Dead, but that's
Yeah.
the one where they crave brains.
That's my favorite zombie film of all time.
Is it really, Steve? That's
It
gnarly.
really is.
You like the punk rock chick getting all naked and
All naked.
hairs?
She's like, it burns. I love that film, bro. That's my favorite film
question.
of all time.
Since we're on movies and we're talking about zombies and dead people and sharks, fucking Jaws meets Jason.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it
Give
exists
me that
already.
It's
shit.
gotta, yeah.
I'm sure
He's
it
in
exists.
the water all the time. He's probably seen Jaws a couple of times.
I'm just gonna look up zombie shark movie right now. We'll see how many movies actually pop up.
I would love to see a Jason meets Jaws movie. That shit would make my day. Like I still want to see Leprechaun meets Chucky.
Leprechaun meets Chucky.
Wow.
So far we got Zombie Tidal Wave. We got Sharknado. Oh hell no. Ozark Sharks, Mississippi River Sharks, Six-Headed Shark Attack, Santa Jaws, Damn Sharks, Ghost Sharks. That's probably your zombie shark right there.
Ghost shark.
Ghost shark.
We have ghost sharks.
It's a shark that's dead, but it's
That
a ghost.
actually
But it's a
sounds
ghost.
pretty good.
It does. Does that sound fucking terrifying?
That sounds pretty good. That's like 13th Ghost or 13 or Ghost shit with sharks, nigga. That sounds like him.
Oh my God. No, go back to what you first said. I want to see a 13 ghost movie, but like with just sharks in it.
That's what I'm saying. 13 of the most vicious sharks in the world. They're their fucking spirits hunting this boat. The
There
boat's
you
been
go.
salvaged, and every time they go into the water, they get attacked, and they
That's
don't.
copyrighted by Real Shark and Dave.
You know, if anyone's taking that credit, we need our paper. We need our paper.
So speaking of dead things, I want to talk about a movie that came out last year, actually, and this is actually a mix of two films. One actually, and it's actually a mix of, like I said, two films. One called The Return. It's actually, I believe that's what it's called. It's a French film about. It's kind of like zombies. This is actually one of these films. Hold on, these are one of these films, Dave, that is actually uh, they're coming out more and more popular. And I'm sure you, my audience out there, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a film where basically a lot of people have died and they return back from the dead, but they're not zombies. They're still living. And it's more of a film about how they, adjust to the life that's been missing. So,
Oh, that was,
some of the, huh?
that was a show.
Yeah, it is a show. It's also a movie too. It's a French film called The Return,
Yeah.
way back in the day.
That's
But
where they got the basis of the show from.
yes, no, you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
And then basically, this movie Risen, which is what I'm talking about,
I've heard of
is
that.
yes, it's also like Arrival. So it's two films essentially. So Arrival is the one where the aliens come and they try to make contact with everybody. Excuse me. But basically, Risen was directed by Eddie Araya, written by God. This is a good one, Steve. Also written by Eddie Araya.
Oh wow.
Stars Zaylee Moore, Izzy Bringer, Lily Brown Griffiths. Basically, it's about a meteor that comes down and strikes a small town, and basically it turns the environment uninhabitable, but it kills everybody in the process. But they come back to life, and the only but it's not like they're wary or conscious or anything like that. They actually discover that this meteor is kind of it's almost like evolution in a way, Steve. This meteor is turning the atmosphere to more of a tolerable atmosphere for the aliens. And basically, once they bring the people back into the atmosphere, they're able to talk and communicate and everything like that. But basically, this plant, it looks like a plant. It's like a giant ass claw looking
It's
plant
like a
thing.
claw. Yeah. Yeah.
It basically is trying to terraform the world to basically make it more like its environment, which is funny because when they actually make communication with the thing, I always think the dialogue was kind of silly because it was like it's like, oh yes, don't worry, it's like we're making it more habitable for us. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't work for us humans. Like that works for you, it
I was
doesn't
gonna
work for
say, yeah,
us.
it's always got to be like it's gonna work for me first before it works for all
Right,
the rest of humanity.
right, right. But I thought it was it's a film though that's gotten a 3.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Do I think it was good? I thought it was an interesting film. I don't think it's better than Arrival or The Returns or any of those films I mentioned that have to do with the dead coming back and realizing that their lives are, you know, that they missed part of their lives. I don't think
Warm bodies. You're not gonna bring that up.
yeah, it's not like, oh God, I actually like Warm Bodies. What are you talking
Oh
about?
God.
I actually liked it.
Oh
Thank you,
no. What is
thank
wrong
you,
with you guys?
thank you.
Well, I
It
didn't
is
really. Okay, warm bodies for me specifically. It was different. It was different. It was just fucking
it
different.
is.
It was
It's
fucking
Romeo
different.
and
It was
Juliet
like,
meet zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
now what
stupid.
was the one where dude fell in love with his fucking neighbor and she was a goddamn zombie?
Ooh.
Oh, you're talking about Zombieland? Is that
No,
it?
no.
The only movie I know like that is Vito, which I
Yeah.
love.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Bro.
Are you
Yeah, I
talking
don't know
about
about that.
are you talking about the is it with Drew Barrymore?
No.
Oh, okay, then I
He's the
don't know the
main
film you're talking
character.
about.
Oh no, no, no. I think that is Zombieland where his girlfriend dies and then he had to go on the run.
Yeah, he has to go on the run, and I think it's his neighbor, and she comes
Yeah.
back. Yeah, I think it might
Okay.
have been that. But there is a Drew Barrymore where she is a zombie, I think.
It's, it's
Oh,
Santa
that's Dead
Clara.
Valley.
No, it's the
That's a
Santa
good
Clara
show.
one. The one they got rid of Netflix.
That's a
It's
show.
The show,
yeah.
yeah.
Santa Clarita Valley.
God,
Or
oh
Santa
my.
Clarita Diet. That's what it was called. Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. There.
yeah, there
Yep.
you
There you
go.
are.
There you go.
Watch
That's
that.
what
That
it
was
is.
a really good fucking show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
Netflix
one of the
canceled
shows
that
that
one,
everyone was
right?
upset when. Yeah, that was upset. Everyone was upset when they canceled that one. That was a film that everyone was a show. Everyone was kind of like bewildered when Netflix got rid of it
Because
because
it
it was quite
humanized
popular.
the whole zombie thing.
Yeah.
It,
it was better than what they tried to do with iZombie.
Yeah,
Like,
and I know, right? And I
I like
keep
iZombie.
iZombie.
God, it's so weird to hear. I like this zombie because there's so many zombie films out there that people like and dislike. Like, I'm more of one of the older school kind of guys. I like the old Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. I like the old school ones. It's really hard for me to get behind a new zombie movie. Steve knows the last zombie movie I actually liked was #Alive. I thought that was actually pretty good.
And that was just okay by
But yeah, that was
today's
okay by my
standards.
standards.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find. I mean, even Walking Dead has gotten to the point of where it's like everything but the
Back
zombies.
on.
It's like,
Yeah.
the background, there'll be two zombies in the background while they're doing their dialogue, just to remind you it's the zombie
Yeah,
apocalypse.
like just one lonely zombie walking, like, oh yeah, this is a zombie show. Which so much about the people.
Right. So let's get to another movie done by Hulu. And I know Steve loved
Oh.
this film
Oh
so
yeah, that's
much.
my
I mean,
favorite
he
movie of
talked
this
about it.
year.
We both actually kind of saw it,
A little
our
bit.
audience, in passing, um, which was Hulu's The Princess.
Yeah.
This film, I gotta say, I'm gonna go on a whim here and say it was fun. It was for those of you ladies out there who want to see one of those action films where a lady basically takes the reins of power and starts kicking everyone's ass. This is for you. Gets a 5.5 IMDb. Has director Lee Van Kite. We just talked about one of his films.
Yep.
Ben Lustig. Jake Thornton was the writer. Stars Joey King, Olivia Kurlenko, and Antonio De- Davidoff. Sorry if I butchered that. But basically, a strong-willed princess refuses to wed a cruel sociopath who is my man Dominic Cooper. She is kidnapped and
Mhm.
locked in a remote tower in her father's castle, where the vindictive suitor is basically trying to, take over the kingdom, and she tries to save the kingdom. Now, this movie truly is about a woman that is basically maybe 102 pounds wet, taking on
And that's like you're being generous, Rob.
taking on knights basically weighed down
In
almost
armor
300 pounds in armor, and she is
and
basically
kicking them out
scissor kicking the
windows,
shit out of them. And you
not
know
breaking
what? And
toes.
you know what? It's pretty awesome. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be serious here, and I'm not trying to be prejudiced against the film, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, but this is another example, unfortunately, of when you stick a female in a male role, because a lot of it was cool. It was cool fighting. That's what it was. I
If
mean,
it's
when the
not
action scenes were
Jolie,
going on, I liked it. What's up, Dave?
if it's not Angelina Jolie, they just need to stop doing it.
And she's another one who's a small chick doing like, beating up grown men type of things. I think that's the problem I had with it, Rob. Like you,
Pitbull, she looked like she could do it.
yeah, she looks like it, and I
That
feel like
girl?
it's also
No.
about owning the role. Like the problem I had with this thing is, all right, fine, you want the princess to kind of be taking it back. If she was not doing Matrix style moves to knights, and then
Right.
play, and then like, and it was being serious though, Rob. That's the problem I was
It
having.
did take itself
It's like,
seriously.
why are you not joking around with this? Like, am I really supposed to believe this chick is just destroying these knights? And
That
she's
is a very
and
good
like
point, Steve.
she's in half her like princess garb, by the way. She's
Yes.
like ripping it, and she's got a sword only, and she's taking on armored knights. And I'm just sitting there, just looking at it, going like, I guess this is cool for somebody. It's not really cool for me. It would have been cool if they would have been taking it more so in a jokey, like I don't even know what type of thing, but
You know what you could really do with this film, and I'm not trying to be mean, but you could have literally stuck just Wonder Woman on it, and it would have been almost the same thing.
yeah, I mean,
If you
kinda
just
though,
changed the
right?
scenery around, made it about fucking Wonder Woman, man. I mean, it was kind of like that. It really was. She
Yeah,
had
it's
superpowers without
yeah.
superpowers. Uh, the current rating of this film is 5.5 out of 10, so it's 50-50 out there for everybody. Um, I didn't think it was bad. I'll tell you that. And there are films out there I've seen recently that I just think are absolutely trash. But
Yeah.
this was one I didn't really think was that bad. Um, Steve, I'm gonna go on a whim and just because the action scenes were really cool, you know, a story it had a good cast, and I'm going also, but I'm a little biased because Dominic Cooper's in it. Fuck you, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
I'm gonna actually give this movie a 6 out of 10. I give it a
that's a
6.
that's a good one. I'm giving it a 6 out of. I'm not giving it a 6. What am I talking about? I'm giving it a 4 just because I love
Jeez.
the Devil's Double. That's it.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
mean,
That's my rating for it. I think they're doing it because this Joey King actress is. I mean, she's in the Netflix The Kissing Booth. I don't know if you saw that one, Rob, but
I have
she's
not.
in all three of those. She's kind of the it girl right now. So it's cool for her. She's getting work, but I felt like, hey, this would have been funnier if it would have just been funny. You know what I mean? Like if I
Like a
would have
parody.
laughed. Yeah, if it was a parody, I would have been like, oh yeah, this is funny. It was a good watch. But then her doing that and totally just like I said, Rob, kicking a full knight
Okay,
in the
okay.
head.
So I'm gonna push back here a little bit, and I'm gonna push back on this that analogy you have, Steve. And I want to ask you and Dave this. So with that said, do you think Black Knight was an awesome film?
In Martin Lawrence,
Oh my god.
Yes.
you motherfucking right.
He's right. He's
You
right. He's
motherfucking
100%
right.
right. I
Okay,
would.
okay. At least you guys are consistent.
Okay.
At least we're consistent in our beliefs here.
How
Because
did you
if we're
not?
gonna
Like,
say
what?
a movie has to be, if it's a parody of a medieval not taking itself serious, then Black Knight is. And hey, I'm
I
agreed.
mean,
I
that's
think
the
it's funny.
best parody.
Yeah.
Bro.
I
This
think it's funny
motherfucker's name
too.
was Jamal Skywalker. He came out with
Right.
some 90s gear in the. Bro, come on. He made a fucking McDonald's. Jamal in the box. This nigga made Jack in the Box. Come on, bro. They had that movie was way before its time.
Yeah, it was.
Like
Hey, it was good.
he's gonna be making residuals off that shit nowadays, but that movie was way before its time.
Let me see
Think
something real
about
quick.
think about if you would have dropped that with instead of it being a what's that goddamn show everybody's watching?
What, Game of Thrones?
Yes, if he
Game
would have
of
did a
Thrones
Game of Thrones fucking parody.
parody. Oh, it wouldn't have worked. They leaned more into Army of Darkness humor with Black Knight more so than Game of Thrones, which this princess movie was kind of leaning into.
Yeah. Let's see. But Black Knight came out in 2001, and I'm actually gonna look this up here because I
And
actually
we got it on Crenshaw for real, for real. It was on Crenshaw.
no. The reason I was looking it up because another movie that came around that time too, which I thought was interesting, which was also about time travel, came out 2 years after it. But Black Knight was actually better than fucking Timeline.
Oh my god!
I've never
Really?
seen that.
You're
Have you ever
serious?
seen Timeline?
Oh my
No, bro.
gosh! Oh,
You guys have never read the book, never seen the movie?
No, I've seen the movie.
Oh,
I didn't
that's
know it was better than Timeline though.
I think you
I'm
think
gonna
you
play the
like
ignorant
Timeline, Steve?
of
No, I did
never.
not. No, that was a piece of trash.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No, it's not even remotely good. I mean,
I
the
didn't
cast
like
was
Spawn
good.
either though. So
Didn't
Hey,
they
you
have an
guys,
all-star cast in that one?
what?
In Timeline, it was like a bunch
Yeah,
of people in it.
yeah. It was a lot of good actors in it. It's a Michael Crichton book, but it's
Yeah,
just terribly
it was
executed.
so bad, dude. They messed that up when it.
It's 2003. It's with you had let's see, this is Paul Walker.
Paul
This was
Walker.
Paul
Yeah,
Walker's first
I
movie.
was I
rest
was
in peace.
wondering if he was in it. Yeah, it was
Gerard
Paul Walker.
Butler, Bill Colony,
Yeah.
or Colony, Francis O'Connor, Anna Farrell, David Twillis, Neil McDonough,
Yeah.
Matt
Look at that
Craven,
that cast.
Michael
They messed
Sheen,
it up.
Ethan Embry. Yeah, this dude. Oh my god, it was such a bad film. So I guess that's going to be the subject of was it bad? So it's going to be Timeline 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. What? No, I know, right? Yeah, I agree
So
with Rob. It was bad.
for those of you who have never seen Timeline, Timeline is about a group of archaeologists who become trapped in the past when they go to retrieve it's their professor. Their professor also has this. He finds this thing that's like him from the past, and all of a sudden it's like this huge government agency that talks about time travel, and basically he's been sent back to the past medieval era and shit.
Mhm.
It's just a wreck of a film. I mean, even the book is kind of a wreck, to be honest with you, when you read
It
it.
kinda. It loses. But the concept was so cool.
I
For
mean,
the time, 2003, I
I
was like, oh yeah, I
guess.
was in it. But then I saw it and I was like, oh, never mind.
And let's talk about another good concept of genre of films, which is the old-fashioned thriller. I recently caught a film, a mystery thriller drama, so to say, called Disappearance at Clifton Hill. This came out in 2019. Follows a troubled young woman returning to her hometown of Niagara Falls, where the memory of a long ago kidnapping quickly ensnares her. This was an interesting film. It was no Silence of the Lambs. So right off the bat, my audience, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to get that juiciness, no, you ain't going to see no Goodbye Horses in this one. This was directed by Albert Shin, written by James Schultz and Albert Shin again. Stars Addison Timmick, Mikla Radin, and Tim Bressford. Um, you know, it's hard to describe this film, Steve. Basically, as I gave you the summary of it, this girl is basically comes back home and she starts to try and figure out this disappearance she's seen. Basically, this boy is abducted right in front of her when she's out on vacation with her family. Like she literally sees these two couple come out and beat the hell out of this kid, throw him in a trunk and leave. And basically, connecting the dots, she discovers that spoilers. Really big spoilers, my audience, because I want you all to kind of stop here if you want to go watch it. She discovers actually that the people who did it, and funny enough, Steve, I don't know if I find this on are magicians.
You're serious? You're serious?
Yes, I'm not serious.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically, listen, you can't even take it serious now. They're basically magicians, and they were basically abusing their sons by trying to get their son to perform with tigers. They literally are the most horrible people in the world that talk about how their son was a weakling because the tigers could sense the weakness, and every time they try to get to their son to do these tricks with the tigers, the son would just get fucked up. And it's a whole range of just people that are basically being manipulated to hide the truth, like basically every thriller is, though. But this one, it's good. It keeps you intrigued. But overall, though, I thought the end result of the movie was very, very bland.
So this is not like a prelude or an origin story of Siegfried and Roy or something. Is it really? I'm being honest, dude. Like,
it
what
is.
is it?
It basically might as well be called the crime of Siegfried and Roy.
Might as well.
Oh,
What?
shit.
Forcing them to do tiger shows. Okay.
And they fed the kid to the tiger.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what they did to the kid. It basically is. It's interesting because
The little fucker
yeah.
had to go then.
What's up? What's
I
up,
said,
Dave?
the little fucker had to go.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And what doesn't help too, Steve, is that they're like Russians. They're Russian.
Oh
So they
no.
have like Russian accents and they're like, the tiger could smell the fear on him. Tiger, no fear.
So it's just the most horrible Russian accent with
Yeah.
Oh my
that's like
God.
so stereotypical. It's
Wait, that
great.
they're Russians or that they're Russians in circus?
That they're Russian that accent in the circus.
Dude, going back to what we were saying about Stranger Things it being 80s, that's probably the most 80s thing I've heard, dude. Vegas tiger shows, Russians,
Right.
forcing kids to do things they don't want to do.
Right. And you know what's funny? And this actually has to do with films too. I recently caught a documentary on YouTube. I don't remember what exactly it's called, but they were talking about how you guys we all know the film Blackfish that came out the documentary. Well, they were talking about how killer whales are facing a new kind of threat. They're talking about how Russians and Chinese are basically taking orcas and they're throwing them freshly caught into the arenas with the trainers to do performances. And my first thought was,
Nope.
that's pretty fucking hilarious. If you're gonna be that stupid and just be like, oh, let's just throw Killer Whale in tank and he perform. I was
So
like,
they
let
don't
them
want
do
them. So they don't want them to be in fucking horrible tanks for 2 weeks first. They just don't like. Oh fuck it. Don't put them in the tanks. Just take them straight there. We're still gonna be mad. What the fuck?
pretty much. They pretty much just throw them there without any basically not just
Training.
fresh, just fresh. Like
Go on, do something. Do it.
Just
Do
go
the trick.
ahead and purchase whatever we can of the ocean. So whatever is caught, they can just go ahead and do what the fuck they want to do with the fish. Because right now, it's not like it's because it's free, because it's open and it's free property. People have so much to say. But if it was government owned, government land, they can't say shit. You can't say a damn word. That's like government cows. We
They
can say what
should
we want,
they should
but
nationalize all the killer whales.
Yes.
you know, damn, look, when you do the
Oh
all
my
you,
God.
all you can be, You need Uncle Sam and Shamu.
Oh my god.
And in this film too, they explain where the origin of Shamu comes from, and it's so fucked up because when Blackfish came out, I'm a big fan of SeaWorld, but even I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
SeaWorld's retarded.
I've never been to
Yeah.
SeaWorld.
Oh, dude, I
You
used to
don't
love
ever want to
SeaWorld.
go to SeaWorld.
I used to love SeaWorld, but when I first seen
I feel like
Blackfish,
going to the aquarium.
but see, Dave, it's not. You should watch Blackfish because it's not about the fact, like, for me, I was like, I know they treat the whales bad. I know they're lying about a lot of things, but I love the ability to go and see whales. I love the ability to go and see dolphins. However, what pissed me off the most about that film was how they revealed how SeaWorld not only lies to the scientific community about dolphins and whales, but they also lie about how people die, how their very employees, the hardworking employees that get in that fucking tank with they barely get paid. And I used to
Yeah.
think you had to be a marine biologist to be able to train with the whales. You
Just
don't.
any
You
Joe
just
off
have
the
to
street.
hold your breath for 5 minutes. That's all the requirements are needed to work with those whales. And the whales are treated so bad. And what's
Yeah, they're
horrible
horrible.
is when the trainers died, though, Dave, they would say it was the trainer's fault.
Mm-hmm.
They would say this guy did this for this reason. But when you would see the video, you would say, "Oh my God, the orca just smashed this guy in half."
In half,
He,
Okay,
like
boom.
holding him
you
underwater.
know what I'm saying?
Okay, so boom.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how, all right, let's take it into some TV shit. It's kind of like how on The Boys, anything that Homelander does, they just fucking cover it up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what SeaWorld did. And that's why I was like, even if you don't like the way they treat the animals, the business model in which they keep is so fucking insulting.
It's like
And
Oh, yeah.
it's like disgusting.
and I bring it to this point too. So in this new documentary I see, guess what the first whale ever caught was? What they named it. The first whale that was ever caught by a guy who used to hunt killer whales. The only reason he caught it
Walt
was for
Disney?
money. They called that fucking whale Namu. So SeaWorld bought another whale off this guy and they named it fucking Shamu. That's the shit I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they
It's
don't want to mess up their business model, and it's just so disgusting.
But it's a
Off of
slap in
dead
the
people.
face. It's a slap
Yeah.
in the face. You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, dude.
They all
It's
take,
so
they
effed
all take
up.
they're all taking a page out of Disney's book.
Pretty much. Pretty
Like, fuck
much.
it, we're just gonna cover it up. And if we can't cover it up, we're gonna lie.
We're just gonna lie about it while it's in your face.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why, I thought when I heard that we were talking about the Russian things, well, that's why it just kind of brought up to me. I was like, they're just throwing like, because we hear about the famous Russian circus. They would never throw a freshly caught grizzly bear. It'd be like, jump on that ball, jump. He's not doing it. He's not jumping. He's not. Bear
Have
no
you-
walking on ball.
You know what's all right? You know what's so funny about that and Disney and all this connection, dude? There's a Disney cartoon. It's called Pongo the Bear that actually has to do with the bear that's named Pongo, which is Russian, that jumps on a ball as part of its circus act.
Bro, he's a Russian bear. He has a Russian accent.
Yeah, and Rob, the thing about it is he's being
Pongo
forced
the bear,
to do
yeah.
it. Yeah, and he's being forced to do it, and the whole cartoon involves the bear
Wow,
trying to
yeah,
escape.
from 1947, yeah.
Pongo the Bear. So it's all there you go, Rob. Your scientific conclusions between killer whales, Russians, bears,
It's all connected.
and
All this is
circus. It's all connecting.
It's all connected through Bigfoot, the Illuminati, and the Cold War.
Trying to tell you.
Oh,
Man.
But
God.
no,
Well,
honest Russia, we fucking love you. Just don't blow us up.
yeah, just don't blow us up. But we love your audience and your
You know,
viewers.
y'all got
Oh,
some
yeah.
good ass looking women
Yes.
coming from out there.
That too. Don't kill all the Ukrainian ones. What? I'm being honest. Seriously. All right,
I've-
but that's
I
been
don't
the
think
show.
I've ever seen a Ukrainian woman, nigga, and known she was from the Ukraine.
Yeah, you Ukrainian women are known to be some of the most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'll see them.
Fact.
If you see one of the Ukrainian women, you'll know they're Ukrainian.
You show
Love-
me a
love
you show
Ukraine.
me an African Ukrainian woman, and I'm gonna lose my shit.
Ooh, I'm gonna look that up right now.
Oh, yeah.
Google. Let's Google that.
That's an
African.
anomaly right there. I don't think you're probably gonna find that.
Let's see. Let me see here. We know this is off topic. Oh, I got some. I got one. How African students in Ukraine. Yeah, I got some.
No,
Yeah.
those are African students in the Ukraine. I'm talking
Students.
about a straight black person from the Ukraine.
Yeah, there's some. There's
I believe
there's some Africans in the Ukraine.
who settled. Mm-hmm. They
Yeah.
left settled.
I was gonna say they settled though. Come on now. You know that you know better than that, Dave. You start going more north, you get thinner and thinner with black people.
North.
Hey, I'm just saying that's because it was a choice and not a fucking mandate.
Hey,
I'm gonna stop the
Up north
movie.
it was a
Terrible
choice.
film.
Y'all was like, they were like, hey, you
Poor.
know, we like the blacks. If you come, you come. But if you stay, you stay.
They've
They
actually
wasn't like,
faced a lot of racial prejudice trying to get over the border. There's been a lot of reports about that, but that's a whole nother story.
yeah.
All right, so let me go ahead and mark this off. This has been your Real Shark Show with your host Rob and Steve and Dave, giving you the signals from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We hope you subscribe to our movie podcast and wherever podcasts are found, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll catch you on the flip side. But back to the issue of Ukraine.